Welcome back to another episode on the Healthy Wisdom series with Dr. Jen Jen. You guys, we are at the last quarter of 2020. Oh my God, where did the time go? I cannot believe it. But it's kind of exciting because usually at the end of the year or at the sort of like as we get to the tail end of the year, we get to kind of see some of the fruits of our labor during the entire year. And, I gotta say, 2020 has been one of those years where we definitely don't get to do the things that we normally do the way we normally did. So it is one of those transition years, or perhaps like one of those completely overhaul years where we have been able to maybe address some of those things that have been neglected. So again, right, we like to look at things from a different perspective and from an opportunity type of perspective, as we've touched upon last week. We get to talk about 2020 in a different light. And so this segment actually is almost perfect for what we're going to be talking about today because, one of the things that, or I should say, one of the determining factors for how we have done reflecting on this year, this very, very different year, is going to depend upon what choices we've made in throughout the months that we've had this pandemic. So none other this new series actually is the wisdom of choices, because that is, sort of how we're going to kind of unpack, the different aspects of the choices that we make. And I certainly will be sharing with you guys some of the behind the scenes, thought processes and the things that I've done this new year of changes that we've gone through from my own sort of life, career, and personal goals and business goals perspective, as well as sort of the new year that we're going to be heading into. So it all boils down to a lot of the choices that we have made during the year, as well as we are consistently and continuously making as we are heading into the tail end of this year. So one of the things that I've kind of I guess zeroing in on is, how we make choices. A lot of times we don't think about, uh, sort of breaking down, how we make those choices, right? But one of the aspects that I find is very important is our attitude. Our attitude is something that actually my dad shared with me when I was in, gosh, grade 9. So I would say I was about 14, turning 15. And, my dad's one of those like really interesting characters. He looks really serious from the outside, but he's actually a big time joker, like, um, I remember back in the day, we would have like some pretty interesting conversations over dinner. My dad would always have a very different way of sharing certain stories, and one day, I remember him and I were having this conversation about attitude. One day, like, he just sat me down one day and he said, "You know what, Jen, I want to talk to you about something. I want to talk to you about attitude." And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, what does this mean? Like, have I been giving my dad attitude? Like, is that why he wants to talk about it? And turns out that's not the kind of attitude he was referring to. He actually was sitting me down because he wanted to share something that he kind of was, contemplating himself about, in his life, and, the things that he's had to weather through. And so he said to me, one of the most important things that I can pass on to you is the concept of having the right attitude. Whatever it is that you choose to do, you got to have the right attitude. And at the time, I don't know if I actually understood exactly what he meant by that, but it at least, I believe, planted the seed for me to continuously reevaluate my own personal attitude, um, that I bring towards everything and anything that I choose to do. And I feel like that was actually a very valuable lesson that my dad was able to impart on me. And like the way he put it for me was very, I guess, simply. He said, it doesn't matter what you start doing, you gotta make sure that you finish. And what do we mean by finish? Is, for example, I remember sharing with you guys, the story of how I had to fight to get some piano lessons because it was a big investment, right? Financially and otherwise, right? And so for my dad, the attitude that I brought to learning to play the piano and learning music was exactly that. It wasn't just about me starting my lessons and just, kind of like, trickling my way through it. He expected me to bring an attitude of being able to finish at the best level that I could bring to the table. And it was clearly none less than, no less than what at least getting a diploma out of that would be. And so in that sense, in that example, it was about, getting to the finish line with a respectable as in to yourself. You have to be accountable and respectable to yourself of all the time and investment that you have put into this journey of learning, to play the piano, right? And so that I believe really instilled in me, the value of the type of attitude you bring to the table. Um, Another way to put it is, my dad always emphasized that, you got to do things because you can, and you got to do it because for you, um, you got to do it for you, and you got to do it with excellence. Like he's always kind of pushed that on me, that, you whatever it is that you choose to do, attitude also encompasses how much you bring to the table. So I was raised with nothing less than 120%. You got to give that oomph. You got to give that extra push. You can't just give the 100%. You got to go beyond that, and you got to give it 120%. So I think if we can pass that down to the next generation, or if there are, I guess, colleagues or coworkers or friends and family that are, have set a goal for, maybe 2021, that quality and that type of attitude, I believe, is is going to kind of, I should say, the attitude that you bring to the table will also determine whether you succeed or not. And and I believe that if we do things because we can, and we do it for us, right? It's something that's meaningful to us, and we do it with excellence, then the chances of success are going to be that much higher. And the attitude that we bring to the table will determine how that journey, or the quality of that journey, and how it turns out for you at the end. I certainly have witnessed that, in my piano career. Like I still to this day am very grateful and very excited actually when I talk about, uh, my ups and downs and all the things that I've learned through that process. And, now I recall the different things that I've done in my life. And I gotta say, that attitude of doing the things that I can for me and for the excellence of that arena, that aspect, that learning has shown me that I actually value, what it is that I am striving for that much more because of my attitude. And so I'm hoping that the lesson that my dad instilled in me could also serve for you and your family as we get to the tail end of this very interesting year that we've had. All right, healthy wisdomers, it has been a pleasure to share this episode again with you guys. And I want to thank you guys for listening and participating and all the feedback that you've been giving me all through these months. And, if you don't mind, please remember to take a minute to subscribe, follow, and rate this episode so that we can share all this wisdom with everyone. And let's invite them to join us on this journey. This is the Healthy Wisdom series with Dr. Jen Chen. I'll see you guys next week.